We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators.
No. Look, I would take
her over it.
It's
horrible that we have to do that.
I can't. I could never vote for Newsom.
No,
I just
Kamala.
can't. I would just say that his leadership in California is good reason to brush him off for the loser that he really is.
Gavin Newsom thought he was walking into a friendly debate. Then Anna Kasparian showed up with flamethrowers, a blender, and a checklist titled Ways to Ruin a Governor. This wasn't just a comeback. It was a full TED Talk in public humiliation. 1 minute, he's smiling. The next, he's probably Googling how to resign gracefully. And the best part, Anna never even raised her voice. Welcome to the roast. Gavin didn't ask for, but completely deserved.
Your car's gonna get broken into, okay? You're gonna get robbed. Using taxpayer money, funneling it to nonprofits so they can literally buy crack pipes and hand them out at Skid Row.
And
there's video evidence of that. Paying incredibly high taxes that go to what? So yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And honestly, just experiencing what I've seen on the ground in California has made me question a lot about left-wing ideology.
3. If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. It helps more than you think. So, Gavin Newsom thought it was going to be a normal day. Hair, perfectly gelid suit, freshly pressed smile, meteor confidence. Through the roof, he probably winked at himself in the mirror before leaving the house. Then came Anna Kasparian. Not quietly, not gently. She arrived with the calm fury of someone who's completely done with California's poster boy pretending to be progressive while cozying up to billionaires and ignoring real problems.
In 2014, voters in California overwhelmingly supported a ballot measure to support building more reservoirs in the state in order to bulk up our water infrastructure because we live in a drought-prone state. That passed in 2014. Funding was attached to it. You want to know how many reservoirs have been built since 2014? Zero. This state is an utter joke because of the people who are governing it. Gavin Newsom right now is at the top of that list.
Now, to be fair, Gavin's been doing this political tap dance for years. He's got that centrist swagger. You know the type. I deeply care about climate change, while approving 12 new oil permits over brunch. He's built a brand as California's wine-sipping savior. Only problem, the grapes are sour and the vineyards are on fire.
This is what I was surprised about. I did not expect Donald Trump to flip 10 counties in California from blue to red. But I guess I shouldn't have been surprised about that either. Because when you look at the conditions that people are living in a Democrat-controlled state, well, yeah, you can understand why people are turning their backs on the Democratic Party. You can understand why people are frustrated at the corruption, at the loss of $24 billion that was allocated to help the homeless, when homelessness only exploded during that time, and that money is now unaccounted for.
Then Anna stepped in, clearly skipping her morning caffeine, replacing it with straight political espresso. Whatever was left of Gavin's golden boy image, gone. Vaporized Dutch, didn't yell, she didn't need to. She came with receipts. All the way back to his first campaign slogan. It wasn't a rant, it was a strategic. Demolition. Methodical. Hilarious, devastating. She tore through his PR image like it was taped together. Interns and broken promises. And what made it brutal, her calmness. No drama. Just precision that hit harder than any meme because every word was true.
What would a President Newsom candidacy look like in a general election, not just pandering to the left?
Yeah, good question. He would sell out the American people to corporate interests, just like he did with PG&E, starting fires and destroying countless Californians' lives as a result of that. He bailed them out. He totally bailed them out. He has provided protection for them, even though they absolutely refused to update their century-year-old equipment, which everyone knew was going to lead to devastating wildfires.
Gavin Newsom says he cares about the working class, but Anna Kasparian exposed the truth, like a magician revealing every trick on stage. She made it impossible to see Gavin without noticing the strings, smoke, and trapdoors. His progressive costume didn't survive the reality check. And you could practically hear the internet explode. Because this wasn't just about Gavin, it was about every politician who kisses babies for the cameras. But signs, eviction notices, behind closed doors. Every leader who talks about the people like we're a novelty. not actual human beings.
Gavin Newsom, in every single interview I've seen him do, has passed the buck, even though he is the governor of this state.
Yeah.
He is pathetic. He's a snake. He's like the slimiest Democratic politician, certainly on a local level. But what we have seen is mismanagement of epic proportions, and the mere existence, and it is real, the existence of climate change should not be utilized as a talking point in order to pass the buck, in order to deflect blame, in order to refuse to take any personal responsibility for how poorly this state has been governed for several years now.
Brianna lit the match, and suddenly, everyone remembered they'd been sitting on a giant pile of political kindling. And the best part, she didn't yell, she didn't perform, she didn't need stage drama, she came with facts, she connected the dots, then let the absurdity speak for itself. It was like a cold, hard slate wrapped in a TED Talk. Gavin, meet Karma. Her name is Anna. She came to talk about your hypocrisy.
Can I curse? I don't know if I can.
Please,
Okay.
you must. It's a necessity.
So, Democratic establishment candidates are full of shit. And I need people to understand that. And we need to get out of this like vicious pendulum swing cycle where we go from one terrible administration to another terrible administration. They just have different branding. But in the end, they do nothing for ordinary people. And that's what people are hungry for. I think that's part of what explains the popularity of Zoran Mamdani in this mayoral race in New York City.
Now let's take a moment to admire Gavin. Newsom's political aesthetic. He's the guy who wants to be everything to everyone. A progressive hero on MSNBC. A corporate comfort blanket in the boardroom. Remember, when Gavin bragged about how California would lead the nation in green energy? Cute, but he forgot to mention how many oil drilling permits were approved under him, how that high-speed rail project turned into a high-speed rumor, and how environmental justice always seems to vanish when a tech lobbyist walks in.
I'm a native Angelino. I was born and raised in California. I love my state. I love the people in this state. But it is an absolute wasteland right now. Every freeway bridge is full of people living in tents. There's excrement on our sidewalks. It's unsafe. Crime has gone up. And when it comes to coronavirus, I mean, the fish rots from the head down. Let me just mention.
And it wasn't nitpicking. She was showing a pattern. The Gavin shuffle, say bold progressive things in public, then quietly watered down the truth in private, while voters might not catch that soft betrayal. Anna had receipts and a megaphone. And here's what really hit hard. She didn't just call out policy. She called out the mindset that looking polished matters more than being honest. That if you act confident and say buzzwords like equity, no one will ask where the actual equity is. Spoiler, they are and Gavin. He didn't have a good defense, no strong comeback, no clever tweet, no press release that didn't feel like it was panicked typing by interns. And an AI chatbot. His silence was loud, which made Anna's takedown echo even more.
Oh, I'm sure he really does find it funny. He's not bothered by it at all. You just heard the bitter statements of a snake who unfortunately serves as the governor of California. Some like to refer to him as Gavin Newsom. I like to refer to him as a smarmy failure of a politician out of the state that I was born and raised in. Nonetheless, Gavin Newsom was fighting hard to be the guy who stepped in to replace Joe Biden if he dropped out of the race, of course.
Because when someone drops truth bombs with precision and calm, there are only three responses. Panic, deny, everything awkwardly pretend it didn't happen. Gavin picked door number 3, but the internet, they hit replay. Over and over again, clips of Anna's demolition job spread like wildfire on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, basically anywhere. People love watching a powerful takedown. Memes exploded. Reaction videos flooded in.
He's so cool and relatable in his genes, and but like between Cuomo and Newsom, these are actually two really good examples of people who represent the Democratic Party establishment who have not fully reckoned with their unpopularity during the COVID crisis and are now sort of trying to be as powerful as they were before without, I don't know, maybe actually even being seriously introspective as opposed to whatever the hell that was.
You're absolutely right, okay, in your analysis. And let me just say, you know that I like you when I'm willing to sit through a podcast episode featuring Gavin Newsom just to prepare for this. Okay,
God bless.
I can't stand him. I can't stand his raspy voice. And it's not for any superficial reason other than the fact that I live in California. I've had the displeasure of experiencing what his leadership actually looks like.
Moment, and a Kasparian spoke. The internet bloomed. Political commentators, normally too scared to say anything edgy, suddenly started quoting her. Well, paraphrasing her because quoting her directly might have fried a few circuits in Gavin Newsom's media war room. What made it worse? Let's be honest. Gavin brought this on himself. Not on purpose, but by treating his job like it's just a stepping stone to the presidency, instead of a platform to actually fix California's problems. California isn't a campaign prop, but Gavin acts like it's just a giant Instagram backdrop for his political glow dash up.
Mention that while Americans are encouraged to shelter in place, encouraged to practice social distancing, no eating indoors at restaurants, you know, he was seen at the French Laundry meeting up with his lobbyist buddies. That is unacceptable. I have not seen competent leadership from Gavin Newsom, and I will state on this show, every single member of my family signed our names, provided our signatures to recall him.
Meanwhile, Anna sat there like, oh, you thought nobody noticed? The luxury fundraisers, the policy walk, the endless photo ops with just enough diversity to tick a box. She noticed, and she made sure everyone else did too. No screaming, no chairs thrown, not even raised eyebrows. Anna came in with calm fury, surgical precision, and icy sarcasm sharp enough to power a Tesla. She didn't rant. She disassembled Gavin Newsom's polished facade like she was performing an autopsy on his political career, live, unfiltered. And in high-def. This wasn't drama. It was intellectual warfare, and Yasana shredded that contradiction like a White House interpanicking at a shredder on a Friday afternoon.
And now some are noticing, look, he's not really doing the type of campaigning for Kamala Harris that he was doing for Joe Biden. What's going on here? Now, of course, we all know what's going on. Newsom was engaging in that campaigning, not for Joe Biden's sake, but in order to increase his name recognition in case he found himself in a situation where he'd be tapped to replace Joe Biden after he drops out. Now, Newsom went from campaigning hard for Biden to barely campaigning at all on behalf of Kamala Harris, so much so that Democratic operatives are now questioning whether his role as a national surrogate for Harris is really something they can lean on. They're questioning if it's even a thing.
She exposed the hypocrisy of a man who calls himself progressive youth, won't commit to universal healthcare dodges, tenant protections, pretends to fix homelessness every election cycle. One brutal paraphrase. You can't run a state like a Netflix trailer, all flashy promises, with zero follow-through. Then she got to the real core of the issue, Newsom's political cowardice. According to Anna, Gavin's got the ambition of a president, but none of the spine. He waits for the polls, for the headlines, for the donor class to tell him what to say. Anna didn't scream. She implied what needed to be said. Leadership isn't about timing your morals. It's about actually having some... Somehow, that calm delivery, worse than a scream, it was the kind of scolding that would make even a governor want to crawl inside his $3,000 suit and disappear.